What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new rebuild, and today we're going to be rebuilding Newcastle. That is right, with the main aim of winning the Premier League and the Champions League. Now, we've got a massive budget to go over and spend. If you do enjoy the rebuilds, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And once again, you can leave a comment right now on any team you want to see get a rebuild in the future. We've still got tons of time before FM25, and I'll try and get it done. If not, we'll do it next FM. Do stick around, be sure to sub, let's go through and rebuild Newcastle. So today we are going to give ourselves 5 seasons as an overall rule, and as you can see with Newcastle, I will say they have got a lot going for them. They've got a great reputation, decent training, decent youth recruitment as well, a lot of money in the bank. The owners, they absolutely love the club, and what I will say is, as an actual team, of course they do have history. 4 Premier League titles, 6 FA Cups, 1 Europa League, 4 Sky Bet Championships, 1 Community Shield, and 1 Anglo-Italian Cup, which is always quite interesting. But if you look at their team on paper, they've got some decent players, and we are now playing with that company new buy-in tactic. You would have seen that being posted very shortly coming up on the main channel. Now, what I will say is, if you do want to get access to this rebuild file at the end of the video, and also access to all of my tactics on my main channel, there's over 13 perks. I'll put them up here. You can come over and sign on to the Patreon when there's close to 5,000 people where you can come over and get involved with, and I will say there's a lot going on, so be sure to pop over and say hello. We've got a massive group chat. It's absolutely amazing. But if we look at the team and the sort of players on the paper, we can sort of understand exactly what's going on. So we look at somebody like Pope, for example, is a great sort of area of this, because he's a goalkeeper who might not be the most standout goalkeeper in the Premier League, but for a few seasons he is going to get the job done in goal, and having someone like that is absolutely crucial. Moving on to Isaac, of course, a player who is simply probably going to be here for the entire 5 seasons. I will say in Football Manager, very funnily, he actually battles quite well with this man down here, Callum Wilson, because obviously when I simulate the seasons, they go off the rating, how players are performing. This guy can actually get in the team ahead of him, and do you know what? He is 32, but if you look at his attributes, he actually offers quite a fair bit. He's got 18 finishing and 17 composure, so a lot of people overlook Wilson and don't even use him, but do you know what? That's a big mistake, because he's a very, very good player. They've obviously got incredible midfield players. You've got Bruno, a player who is probably going to be quite hard to keep, because City always want to come in and try and poach the Brazilian, and also Tonali, again, who could have bet on that one? I've got to stop the betting jokes, but overall, a player who can come in and put in a real shift. He's a world-class player, and realistically, these two in midfield will probably never need changing. Anthony Gordon, a player who is very hit or miss on Football Manager, but a player who hopefully can perform quite well. You've got Miggy Almiron, you've got Barnes, Botman and Shah. Again, Botman, are quite a big signing, I believe here, £35 million. A player who can come in and get the job done, offers quite a fair bit of centre-back. And just as an overall rule, we've got an actual decent team here. You've got Livramento, you've got Joelinton, of course, you've got Joe Willock, you've got Jamal Lewis. You've got some decent players, but of course, as a rule, in the first season, we did not go and spend money. We only would have had £5 million anyway, but of course, we do not make any signings. Now, in this first season, we are playing in, if we actually go to the competition, sorry, the Premier Division, the FA Cup, and the Carabao Cup, and they are going to be predicting a finish of around about 3rd place. Now, I think that's actually quite generous to predict 3rd place in the first season. I would have gone with anything in the top 10 I'm going to take. It's going to sound weird, but between me and you, I don't want to get Champions League in the first season, because it's too much of a push too early on. So let's get into season 1, see what we can do. Anything inside the top 10 I'm going to take for a first season, because as good as this team is, there's a lot of areas which I'm not happy with. Now, unfortunately, I shouldn't be so ungrateful, but we do get Champions League football, something I would have happily passed up on, as I did say, but still, it is a very good season, I suppose, for the fans to be in the Champions League. Probably what they were expecting, if we are being honest now. I mean, Callum Wilson clearly has got in the team, by the way, with 22 goals coming in there. Miggy Almiron with a 7.39, a real good performance, and what I will say is, it wasn't the most comfortable season. 22 wins, 7 draws, and 9 losses. We got into the Champions League by a decent amount of points, by about 5 points, just ahead of Aston Villa right there. Man City are going to take home the Premier League title, but I mean, overall, I'm split between this, being honest, because I don't like being in the Champions League too early on, but I guess I've got to take it. I would imagine that does mean we've got a little bit of cash coming back into the team. Now, competitions-wise, The rest of it is a double third round exit in the FA Cup against Arsenal, and also when it comes to the Carabao Cup against Chelsea. Two very, very big teams that finished above us, both in the Premier League, so teams that probably were beating us quite comfortably, so I'm not going to be too annoyed. I'm going to take the Champions League and run, but what I'm very interested in is that Callum Wilson got second top goal scorer, which does mean, I imagine, Isaac didn't get all the many games. Callum Wilson, top of the goal scoring chart, 16th for Miggy. Isaac comes in with 14, 13 for Joelinton, Harvey Barnes with 7. So once again, not really too much to talk about, only 22 goals coming in from our top goal scorer, but for a first season, I'm going to take that and accept it. Assist-wise, you got Miggy Almiron, Jacob Murphy, a player I didn't even talk about, Joelinton with 11, and 10 coming in for Kieran Trippier. Now, someone like Kieran Trippier, he looks incredible. He's very well-rounded. Obviously, he's not the quickest anymore. I will be honest, he is 34 years of age, so if we do get an offer come in anywhere near for that price tag, I am going to take it because he's got a max of a couple seasons left, so I've got to be somewhat realistic. But I mean, overall, for a first season, a Champions League, the Cups I'm not really going to worry about too much. It's a decent first season, and we have got a total of £245 million to go over and spend going into that next transfer window. And what I will say is, despite having a very decent team, that of course there are areas you can improve. If we go over and pick by the best 11, for example, we definitely need some new wingers, maybe even a first team winger. Drop Joelinton and Gordon to the bench. Trippier might be retiring soon, need a new right back, or maybe use Livramento because he does look very, very decent. Then sign a new backup right back, a left back potentially, maybe some backup centre backs, a backup AP. There's loads of players we can talk about here, but we do need some more players in those positions. Now, what I will say is, I am going to try and keep it as realistic as possible, but when you've got 245 million and you're playing a video game, you do sometimes get carried away. And what I will say is, whenever you see my rebuilds titled realistic, they will be titled around realistic signings. If they haven't, I'm just going to have some fun. It's a football game, we've got to appreciate that. So let's get into Season 2, see how we done, but more importantly, see who we brought. So for our first actual season, we did go over and sign Mark Gurhey from Crystal Palace, a very realistic signing where he come in and played almost every Premier League game and dropped a 6.97 when it comes to the average rating. So not a electric first season, but enough to get the job done. Of course, his value absolutely skyrocketed from what we paid in 57 to almost over double. A signing which was definitely, I wouldn't say realistic necessarily, because if he's going to go anywhere from Girona, it would be Man City, but a player that didn't break the bank is going to be Mikel Gutierrez, for 18.5 million. He comes in and picks up 32 appearances, 1 goal and 8 assists. Again, quite an average display in my opinion, but for a first entry season to the Premier League, he looks very, very decent for the price tag. He's on quite a fair bit of money per week. Is probably the only downfall for a player of his caliber, but I will say he's a bit of a competition for targets, so it's not a bad thing. And we're going to do the double centre-back side, and it is going to be Arthur Fiata coming in from Rennes. We pick up him for a total of £68 million. He only plays 4 games, and I will say we have got to make sure this guy doesn't completely crumble and just fall off the face of the earth, because he won't get into the team based off pure, just filtered by the best 11, for example. So if I have to lock him in for a bit, I will, because I know this guy can become absolutely ridiculous. So I know it's a lot of money to pay for someone that obviously has only played 4 games, and wage-wise he's on £180,000 a week, but he's still only 25, which is quite young compared to some of the options we've got in this team. And honestly, the fact he can also cover left-back, it's an added bonus. Then we had one luxury signing, and yes, a little bit of instalments were used. That is going to be picking up Nico Williams. We popped his £102 million release clause, and he played 38, 11 goals, 9 assists, and also 7.14 when it comes to the average rating. And what I will say is, this season I was going in and out of the simulation and playing Gordon in the cup games and saving this guy for that Premier League, because he is absolutely incredible. And that is going to be our last signing for the second transfer window, meaning we have brought in some pretty big players. Lost a couple here on the free, which aren't really worth talking about. Nico Williams comes in, Gurhey, Gutierrez and Fiata, a total of £246 million spent. It's a big spend. Did it mean we get better results? Let's go and find out. We match up against West Ham in that Carabao Cup final, where Gurhey is going to make it 1-0 quite early on, with Bruno passing it round into Tonali, driving at everyone and rocketing it into the bottom left to make it 2-0. Unfortunately for them, we go over and score a third goal with Trippier. I believe an own goal. It was an own goal from Alvarez, unfortunately for them. And all they can offer is a Ward-Prowse free kick. It's trophy 1. The question is, how did we do in the Champions League? Our first season obviously playing in the competition, but we didn't get to the final. We didn't get to the semi-final. We didn't get to the quarter-final. We get to the round of 16 and lose on penalties. Do you know what? It's not too bad. We got out of the groups, for example, that group stage. Round of 16, match up against Dortmund. Quite a decent team. We obviously took the game to them, but unfortunately, penalties, they can go either way. Let's go and see what we've done in the Premier League. We went over and done a second place finish, a big improvement. 2 places gained in 1 season. We did spend a fair bit of money, to be fair. And once again, it's going to be Callum Wilson, who obviously is playing up front. 30 goals, joint with Erling Haaland. Who would have thought that? You've got Almiron in 3rd place with the average rating. You've got Gordon with the most assists. I mean, there's a couple things worrying me now. Isaac's not getting on in the team as much, and I am going to let him battle it out. If Wilson's scoring 30 Premier League goals in a season, I'm not just going to bench him for no reason. Where is Nico Williams in this assist category as well? Because Gordon's delivering. Nico Williams, not as much. But overall, still a great season. Only 1 point off winning the Premier League 2 seasons in to this rebuild. And of course, you've probably got a sneak glimpse here of that FA Cup. We do lose in the semi-finals against Man City by 1 goal. So again, not too bad. Similar to the Champions League, we are being competitive. So it's trophy 1 with the Carabao Cup, a very, very strong Premier League season, an okay display in the Champions League, and a pretty decent display in the FA Cup. Definitely some signs are being made, but as a squad, it is going to be Callum Wilson again, with 38 goals across all competitions. We've got Miggy Almiron with 19, Isaac with 17, 15 for Nico Williams. He actually had an okay season, 15 and 18, 13 and 14 for Gordon, a good season from him, 14 assists for Trippier, 12 coming in for Gutierrez, a decent fullback season as well. Contract situation, now we're going to worry about anything up to 2026. So we've got Miggy, he needs a contract. Manquillo, he could go. Kelly could go. Pope, I'm probably going to keep for 1 more season. Murphy, he can go. Wilson, I might actually offer a contract to a 34-year-old striker because he's scoring 38 goals. Dan Burn can go. Isaac can go. Trippier can go if the right offer's there. So it's not the most stressful window because I can guarantee we've got a lot of money to spend. And there you go, we've got 202, more than that, we've got £225 million to go in to that 3rd transfer window with. And what I will say is, we still could raise more money with Trippier, with Dan Burn, maybe a few £1 million. Other than that, not too many people. Although I will say, Miggy Almiron's value is between 55 and 65 million. Now, as much as we all love him at Newcastle, I will say, if I can get anywhere near close to £50 million for Miggy, he will be sold quicker than I can say the word Champions League. He will be gone in an absolute flash. So we'll see what we can do. We've still got a lot of improvements to make in this team. Let's get into the 3rd season, see who we can bring in, see how we done. I'm quite excited. Well, unfortunately, it happened. We did not get a single penny for Trippier. He refused to leave, and he actually got picked up on the free to Real Madrid. He goes on the free. He actually plays almost every single game. He drops a decent rating. That is some move from Atletico Madrid to Newcastle to Real Madrid. Fair play to him. Our first signing is going to be a very unhappy Rafael Leao. He was transfer listed at AC Milan, and when I saw it, and they were willing to take 51 million, I'm going to go and do it because he come in and scored 24 goals, picked up 10 assists and dropped a 7.6 average rating, picking up 10 Player of the Match awards as well in his first season, and he's now valued at £100 million more than what we paid for him, and this guy just looks absolutely electric. Honestly, with these stats alone, 24 goals and 10 assists, we might have won the Premier League. I'm being honest. Nick Pope is getting older and I want a better goalkeeper, a younger goalkeeper, and on this game you are quite limited to options for goalkeepers, so unfortunately we've gone with the same goalkeeper we signed a few rebuilds back. That is going to be Trubin, coming in for 39 million, only played 33, so an injury obviously was in there, but again, quite a decent rating, you can't really complain. A goalkeeper that is easily going to be with us for the rest of this rebuild. Yes, he's on a lot of money per week, but he is one of the best options in the game if you're looking for a future and present quality keeper. So we're going to pick up a Florian Wirtz, and again, a cheap price tag, £49 million, 36 games played, 11 goals, 22 assists, and 7.51 with the average rating. And I'm very interested to see if he gets in the team alongside of Rafael Leao, because them two players being put into the same team, That's absolutely disgusting. They're an incredible partnership, and I honestly think that could have won us a Premier League title. In fact, I'm getting more and more confident as I'm seeing how well these signings are done. We're also going to pick up Milinkovic-Savic. He's on £175,000 a week, and he come on the free. He didn't even play that many games, but for a player that is incredibly well-rounded, I mean 20 natural fitness, he offers a lot in the yellow, a lot in the high blues, and just a player to have in the team who we can turn to for a game here and there, big games as well. He has played at some pretty decent levels, so this guy is a good signing, not like a star signing necessarily, but a player that can come in and get the job done. And lastly, to replace Kieran Trippier, and of course can play also left back, Ferdi Kadioglu is going to come in from Barcelona. He comes in for 46 million, played 35 games, which tells me he either got a slot at left back or right back. I would imagine right back because Trippier did leave, and he enjoyed quite a decent season as well. So every signing we have made has come in and actually performed really well. What do we pay for him again? We paid 46 million. Again, value is going up and up and up. So I'm actually quite confident in these results because every single signing, I mean, you look at the players, we lost Trippier, it is a big loss, but Ferdi Kadioglu, an incredible fullback, a good replacement. Milinkovic-Savic, a good rotation. You got Leao, he obviously performed to a very high level. Florian Wirtz, exactly the same. And Trubin done his job in goal. Let's go over and see what we've done, because based off the sign and stats, we at least finished in the top 4. I think we could have won it. First thing I noticed was a 5-1 win in the FA Cup final against Manchester United, where Casemiro just gives us a goal right from the start. And I will say they were the victims of the downfall because they were giving us goal after goal and they simply were not competing at all. We capitalised on every single mistake they were making. In the second half now with Leao into Florian Wirtz. Good to see those two partnering up, that is indeed. With Wilson playing out into Bruno down the left-hand side, back inside into Florian Wirtz. At this point, a 4-0 cushion. Make that a 5-0 cushion, as it is going to be Gutierrez into Florian Wirtz. And I don't know what United were doing. They do get a goal here as consolation, but it's an easy final. We also are going to lift the Carabao Cup 4-1 against Chelsea. The English Cups are becoming easy. And we are going to win the Premier League and nearly an invincible season. I will say only one loss there against Liverpool, 2-1 away. And genuinely, this is... we've got a really good team now, because you can see here Callum Wilson once again still being in the team, outperforming Isaac clearly. Rafael Leao coming in second place with 24 goals, or third place should I say, second place in the average rating. Florian Wirtz there in third place, and Florian Wirtz tops the assists in the Premier League by 10 compared to Ward-Prowse. So do you know what? The signings we're making, let's also notice this, Trubin with 20 clean sheets. So every signing we have made, bar I believe one, is in the stats. So an incredible set of players we have brought in, and clearly they have made all the difference. We are now looking at a team that has won the Premier League, the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, the treble. We do lose the Community Shield on penalties against City, and the Champions League, it is progression, but not enough to get to the final. We do unfortunately lose to Chelsea by 1 goal. But overall, an English treble in Season 3, I'm going to take that and be quite happy with it. And I've got to see some of the stats, because Callum Wilson, probably in his last season, I will imagine he is 35, but 42 goals for him. We've got 38 for Rafael Leao, Isaac with 26, which still is a decent amount of goals, by the way. 20 for Nico Williams, which is a great season. 19 for Florian Wirtz, Tonali with 8 as well. 8 for Gurhi, majority from set pieces, I would say. And assists, we've got 28, 24, 20 and 19. Nearly 4 players contributing 20 plus assists in one season. That tells me all I need to know. We are building a team, and if we actually filter by the best 11 right now, we can probably understand what's going on, because we have got Trubin, Ferdi, Shah, Gurhi, Gutierrez, Bruno, Tonali, Williams, Wirtz, Leao and Isaac. Or realistically, it is going to be Callum Wilson who's playing. But as a general rule, let's put Wilson in there. As a general rule, that team is a Premier League winning team. The bench has got some ridiculous players on as well. You got Fiata, you got Savic, you got Isaac, Botman, Jolinton, Barnes, Almiron. There is room for improvement on the bench, I will be honest, just reading through some of them names, they're not the best of the best, but this is a team that obviously is capable of winning the Premier League, and we've got a total of £250 million to go into Season 4, and the last thing to do in this rebuild is to try and win a Champions League. Of course, we are going to play 5 seasons regardless, but as long as we win a Champions League, I think we have ticked every single box for what is going to be the perfect rebuild. So let's go over into Season 4 and see who we can bring in. So we are going to have a couple of players leaving on the free. The first one is going to be Xavi Manquillo. He is going to go to Getafe, where he actually played every single game in the league and dropped a decent rating. He had a load of time with us at Newcastle, but it was finally time to move on. Unfortunately, the same is going to be said to Fabian Schär. We actually do pick him up for £3 million at the start. Not a lot of money lost. He is going to get a move to the Saudi League, and he is still on a decent way to, do you know what? Good luck to him. Lose 2 on the free. We bring 1 in on the free. That is going to be Roger Ibanez. He always becomes available in this sort of 4th season. He comes in from the Saudi League, and to be honest, he didn't actually play a game, which is a little bit worrying because he looks really, really good on paper. But just to add another player in that mix as a backup option, I think it's a very solid shout. He offers quite a fair bit, 17 tackling, great heading, he's quite quick as well. And honestly, I'm quite surprised he didn't even get a little look in the team. Carry on strengthen the fullback position by bringing in Mickey van der Ven from Tottenham Hotspur, a world-class wingback, wingback, £56 million. He plays 37 games and drops a 7.32, averaging 8 assists and 3 goals as well. So what I will say is, we have now got Mickey van der Ven and Ferdi Kalioglu as our wing-backs. That is absolutely incredible to have, and of course, he can also play centre-back, so maybe he's getting some games there as well. Just for a bit of a better backup option, we are going to bring in Zanilio on the wing, and he is going to be on loan, but is going to be joining permanently. Now, I will say, when I signed him, he was only going to join permanently if he hit certain stats, so I think he might have had a good season, because I remember saying I think he was joining permanently if he scored 20 goals, so we'll see if that is true. It couldn't have been 20 goals, but he has dropped a good season anyway. 36 games, 16 goals, 17 assists, and 7.37 when it comes to the average rating. So a player who was purely there for backup obviously has got a run in the team, maybe through injury, something's happened, and he's now going to be joining on the permanent. I'll take it. For Leipzig player, and we are going to pick up Asan Odriego, I believe is how you say that, coming in from RB Leipzig for £64 million. Comes in, we've got to remember he's only 22, so he's got loads of years in this team. He comes in, and to be fair, does play 22 games, drops a 7.29, 3 goals, 5 assists. It's an okay first season. Do you know what? He's a player for the future. Obviously, at the moment, we've got Florian Wirtz, but as he develops and gets better and better and better, he can compete with Wirtz and also could do a job on the left, a bit deeper in midfield, and also on the right. And lastly, just to add another option to the deeper area of midfield, we are going to pick up Kepren Turam. Coming in from Aston Villa, he cost us a total of £80 million, but did play nearly every single game, 7 goals, 4 assists, and dropped a 7 average rating. Again, he is purely a player to come in who realistically will get into the team. He's 4.5 star rated, but now we've got so many good midfield options. Just off the top of my head, we've got Tonali, we've got Bruno, we've got Kepin Turam, obviously got Jolinton who can play there as well. We've got a lot of players who can play that role, and this just makes it a lot easier to compete in all the competitions instead of just a couple. And looking at this transfer window, yes, we lost Trippier, but we have brought in so many good players, really good quality players, even on this page as well, and I'm honestly confident we have now got a team that can compete for that Champions League. So let's get in and see what we've done in Season 4. We're going to firstly look at the Premier League. And it is going to be back-to-back Premier League titles. Again, nearly going invincible. Just the one loss that is going to be against Arsenal. And Callum Wilson, once again, second place top goal scorer. I keep saying it's his last season. It's his last season, but he is scoring goal every single time. He's doing the job, and he now must be 36, so this must be his last season. Zanilio and Florian Wirtz first and second place, when it comes to the assists, and Wirtz and Leao second and third when it comes to the rating. Unfortunately for Trubin, Onana one more clean sheet, so do you know what? Fair play to Onana, and since I'm a United fan, I want to go and quickly see what their team's looking like. They have got Tuchel in charge, and they are playing a team of Onana, Dalot, Diamande, Martinez, Balado, Andre, Mount, Duranville, good sign, and Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, and Kagard up front, with quite a good bench as well, to be fair. Adrian Rabiot, obviously we saw that previously. It's a decent team. They've still got Anthony. It's a decent team. Not the best of the best, but it will get the job done. But that's enough. This is not about United. Let's go and see how we've done in the Champions League. This is going to be the Champions League final against Real Madrid, and we actually get off to a great start with Zanillo, the player on loan who wasn't guaranteed a permanent move, scores in the Champions League final. He also puts in a great set piece here, which is a good clearance, a semi-good clearance out into Wirtz, who gets it he gets it past Courtois, and I'm seeing some of the players in this Real Madrid team. I've seen the likes of Osimhen pop up. They've made some signings, and at the moment we are still very comfortable with Bruno driving at everyone through into Thuram. Great link-up play from Wilson and to Zanillo, and I believe it's an own goal from Fofana there to make it 3-0, and this is a fourth goal, a 4-0 lead against Real Madrid inside of 50 minutes with Rafael Leao, and I will give a little spoiler, that was all of our goals that come in, and Real Madrid, they only offered one goal as a consolation, meaning we're Champions League winners. We also do go over and finally win that Community Shield against Man City 3-2. Other than that, not the best display in both of the English trophies, but I will say Premier League, Champions League and Community Shield. We've tipped the Community Shield, and more importantly, we have ticked off that Champions League while maintaining back-to-back Premier League titles. So do you know what? This team we're built now it's European dominating is what it is, because we are competing across all competitions. Yes, in an ideal world, we would have done a little bit better in one of these, but overall a Champions League win, Premier League win, Community Shield win, and more importantly, you have got the likes of, where is he? Callum Wilson at 36, still scoring 30 goals in a season. He might be the most undercard player I've ever seen in my life. 25 for Florian Wirtz, Leao with 25, 23 coming in for Zanillo, 17 for Isaac, Williams with 11, 10 coming in for Thuram, which we've got to keep an eye out for Nico Williams. Obviously, Zanilo's coming in, and he is clearly outperforming him. Assist-wise, 26, 19, 18, 16, 12 and 12. A lot of players contributing with the assists, and this is what creates a good winning team. You've got lots of players that are coming in and scoring goals. You've got lots of players that are getting assists. You can't do it with one or two players. You need the entire package, and that's exactly what we are doing at the moment. And I will say, going into that last transfer window, firstly, let's look at the contracts, because we're going to worry about anything up until 2028, where we've got the likes of Anthony Gordon, actually Milinkovic-Savic. He can probably get an extension, Gordon extension, Willock, I'll listen to offers. Wilson, I'm very torn on that because he will be 37. He can't score 30 goals at that age, so I might get rid of him. Joelinton coming in, he can also go. Zanilo's going to stay, obviously. He can go, Miggy can go, he can go, and Target can go. So we've got a lot of players that we potentially have to replace here. So hopefully we've got the budget. We've got 240... Oh, hang on. We have got £315 million to spend going into the last transfer window, and we have got a team which already looks ridiculously good. I mean, filtered by the best 11, it wouldn't have changed too much. We have got Trubin, Ferdy, Ibanez, Mickey van der Ven, Gutierrez, Gameres, Thuram, Williams, Wirtz, Leao and Wilson. Now, it's quite interesting because I wouldn't necessarily lay out the team like this. I would probably lay out the team with Mickey van der Ven playing as a left back. Ibanez is very, very solid, but I'll probably partner him alongside of either one of these three. I mean, you could go with Gurhey, Fiata, Botman. I would probably go with some... I might honestly go with Botman, to be honest, because he's been here the longest. You know, he's still doing his job. Ferdy at right back. Bruno and Thuram. Again, you've got so many options. Tonali actually looking like a bit of a backup at the moment. So maybe these two is going to be the perfect pairing. Williams, I would stick out there, I'll keep him there. Leao will keep there, Wirtz, and at the moment, based off form, I would keep Wilson, so that's a very interesting statement. But let's go over into the last transfer window, see what we can do, because we have got money to spend, over 300 million to be exact, and I'm not being funny, I think we can really make a charge to try and win a quadruple. Let's go and do it. So unfortunately, we don't get anything for him, but Miggy Almiron is going to move on to the Saudi League, where he goes on, he has an okay season. Do you know what? He has had so many good years for us, it's okay that he leaves. He simply did not want a new contract, we couldn't sell him, no one really wanted him, so he is going to leave on the free. Signing one, and a very good competitor for first team goalkeeper, or a very good backup, that is going to be Bart Verbruggen, coming in from Brighton, £54 million. He's already outclassed Trubin, with 37 appearances in the Premier League, and dropping a 7.11, averaging 21 clean sheets. So this was a backup signing that has clearly sort of come back, not to bite us, because we've now got two incredible goalkeepers, but Trubin, what's happened? This might be a bit of a crazy statement, but for a backup striker behind Wilson, Isaac, we've got Endrick. Now, this guy obviously is performing pretty decent for Real Madrid in real life. He actually goes to Bayern on this save, and we then pick him up for 49 million, where he only played 4 games. So I will say that is probably the only really worrying signing that I've made this transfer window. He is a player for the future, but I was expecting a little bit more. We also are going to pick up Piero Hincapié, coming in from Bayer Leverkusen for 48 million pounds. He did play a lot of the games, for 36 appearances and 6.98. Now, if you know this player, he can play comfortable at left back and also centre back. He's got the pace to play at left back and also obviously at centre back. Now for me, I'm very interested where he got his game time, because it makes me wonder whether he played centre back and Mickey van der Ven went to left back, or maybe he played left back and Mickey van der Ven stayed at centre back as the game did want. I probably would imagine that would be the correct outcome. Yeah, I'd say so. Mickey van der Ven at centre-back, because he is probably our best option, to be honest. And then this lad coming in at left-back. Once again, he is a player I have signed in several of my rebuilds, so I do apologise if it does get repetitive. But sometimes you have your players you go to when you're trying to wrap up a rebuild, and this is one of them. Lastly, the last luxury signing, Hugo Larsson, a leading Premier Division player at the age of 24. Another incredible DM option, 91 million. He has come in and dropped an absolute masterclass in his first season. Bayern turned a nice bit of profit on him, to be fair, but he is a player for us who looks absolutely incredible. And looking at the players we have brought in, yes, we've spent big. We have brought in a great goalkeeper, a decent striker. Zanilo, obviously that's the permanent deal. Hincapié, a good fullback / centre-back, and a very good CDM. Overall, looking at our transfers, we have done incredibly well with the players we have brought in. So let's get into the last season. Did we do the quadruple? Did we win the Champions League, the Premier League? We're going to start with the Champions League. So it is going to be the Champions League final against Real Madrid, and do you know what? It's literally the same game as last season, and we start off the same way. A great goal there from Rafael Leao inside of 12 minutes, and unfortunately for Madrid, we simply outpress them. Larsson plays it through here. He's going to turn back, little ball through into Williams, and Courtois probably will not want to see that one again. A very awful bit of goalkeeping, to be honest, with Bruno putting in a challenge into Wilson, through into Rafael Leao, who is going to take on everyone and go alone off the post. Williams gets the rebound, and we are going to be 3-0 up in 34 minutes. But unlike the last game, Madrid did offer something. Osimhen knocks in a rebound there in the 54th minute, and they do go back and get another goal before the end of the game, with Gorna into Tuchinemi, through into Victor Osimhen, but this goal is nothing more than a consolation. We match up against Burnley in the Carabao Cup, where Florian Wirtz gets off to a great start inside of 19 minutes, with Wilson linking up the play again, still playing at the age of 37, into Williams, into Larsson to make it 2-0. Burnley do get a goal, but again, it is purely consolation. I will show you it. It's a decent goal, to be fair, good bit of play, but no threat at all. It's trophy after trophy, as once again, this is now going to be 3 seasons back to back. We are going to win the Premier League, and Adam Aidar is your top goal scorer, which tells me Haaland must have moved somewhere. Ivan Toney second place, and Rafael Leao joint second. With that being said, all of our players in the average rating, our new goalkeeper, most clean sheets. We really have taken the Premier League and sort of just, well, we've run with it, because we have done such a good job. And not only did we do that, we win the Super Cup 4-0 over Sporting, and the Community Shield we also lift against Manchester United 4-0. The only thing we didn't win is the FA Cup, but that is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trophies, a quadruple winning, a quintuple, I believe is how you say it, I think. 5 trophies in 1 season. I will say we are going to go over the stats, but if you do like what you see so far, how this rebuild has gone, please do leave a like and subscribe. And once again, if you do want to get that rebuild file, you can come over and join the Patreon, where you get so many perks. If I remember, I'll put them on the screen as well, but there's over 13 perks, access to all of my tactics, rebuilds, giveaways, loads of stuff. Do come over and get involved. But let's go and see what players got these results then. So it is going to be 30 goals for Callum Wilson again. This guy is 37 and he's finally going to be retiring, but do you know what? He's enjoyed a great time here. 27 for Rafael Leao, Nico Williams with 25, 24 for Florian Wirtz, Hugo Larsson with 11, and 11 for Zanillo. Assist-wise, incredible stuff for Nico Williams and Florian Wirtz, and also a lot of these players contributing a lot of stuff. I am going to start trying to do a new thing in the video now, which is I'm going to say player of the video and most disappointing player of the video. And player of the video for me is going to be Callum Wilson. It's a player I didn't even sign. He's 37 years of age, and I mean, he has come in and he has just dropped. I mean, since we took over here, he has come in, so the last 5 seasons, so here really, we've got 22, 30, 26, 21, and 14 in the Premier League alone. And the most disappointing player of this rebuild, I don't want to do it, but I'm looking at how the expectations I had. It's going to be Tonali. He is not even competing in the first team anymore, realistically, and he has let me down quite a fair bit, to be honest. If we look at his sort of ratings, he is playing a lot of games, but he's quite average, to be honest. I was expecting a lot more from him. Maybe it's because we are signing really good DM options, but he had 2 or 3 seasons to really build up and cement in this team, and he simply didn't. So that is going to be my personal opinion. If you are carrying on this save back home, you've got a budget of 100, and you got more than that, sorry. You got £209 million to go and spend in the 6th season if you are going to carry on back home. And the team I've left you, well, the team I've left you guys is it's an absolute treat. You've got Trubin, Ferdy, Ibanez, Mickey van der Ven, Hinsapi, Bruno, Larson, Williams, Wirtz, Leao, Isaac. You've got an incredible bench. You've genuinely got a team here that can take over world football. And of course, my challenge to you is to do what I couldn't do and win absolutely everything in one season. So I'm going to give you one season, one more season of transfers, and your challenge is to try and win everything you see on this screen. If you have enjoyed the rebuild, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I'll be seeing you in the next one. Enjoy the rest of your day.